Good morning. How are we doing? You can clap. It's okay. I haven't done anything yet, but my name is Jenny Leigh Flurry. I'm going to be one of two speakers this morning as we talk about advancing accessible and AI, and yes, the word agentic learning experiences. I'm going to be walking you through a few of the logics and reasons behind why we're so excited for some of the announcements you're going to hear very shortly from my colleague, Jeana Jorgensen. My role, I lead accessibility at Microsoft, which basically means that I work across the company to advance the future of accessibility in our products, in our technologies, and what we do. I really want to ground us, before we dig into all of the good nerdery, in the why. Why does this matter? Why is it important? And why is Microsoft invested in accessibility in the way that it is? And forgive me for going into history, but I find it to be the most compelling way of explaining the logic. If you look back in the history of technology, technology in all of its forms, disability and accessibility has been in it. There's plenty of room, by the way, in the front. Don't hesitate. If you have an empty chair, can you just put your hand up next to you? There we go. Just make it, see? Accessible all the way through. But if I want to paint the real one that I get excited about, it's the one that's on the screen right now. Many people don't realize some of the technologies that you use every day, probably this morning, have come from designing with and for disability. Who used an electric toothbrush this morning? I didn't. I forgot mine. I had to go and get one from the concierge. But my electric toothbrush back in Seattle was designed and came from a patent and a doctor who originally figured out that this motor within a toothbrush made it easier for everyone, in particular those with limb differences, with arthritis, to be able to clean their teeth, and it was more effective. It was better just by doing it. That is the principle of why a company like Microsoft is so invested in this space. This is also our employees in every single company, whether you know it or not, and these are our customers. Disability is huge and growing. Over 1.3 billion are the latest numbers of people with disabilities around the world, and the majority of it is not visible to the eye. You cannot tell if somebody has autism, sometimes deafness, ADD, dyslexia. In fact, neurodiversity is one of the biggest growing sectors today. Our own employee community, which has shot up in the last 3 years, is now well over 5,000 people strong. So designing and building here produces great technology, and it empowers people, which is why my day job, when I get back to Seattle, is to work across the 19 divisions of Microsoft to make sure that the technology that you use is inclusive and accessible. That means that I'm working across 6,000 different environments, websites, tools, products, and apps. I'm working with buildings, events, and clearly not doing that alone. There are some amazing people across this company. Every division has people dedicated and assigned to accessibility. And what is that producing? Well, I'm going to share a little bit about my world and why it matters. I know I sound good. I'm very modest as well, by the way. I have a very British accent. I'm actually from Birmingham. Anyone heard of Birmingham in the UK? Oh, look at that. Loads of Brummies. I'm deaf. I cannot hear you, and my speech is pretty spectacular, but my deafness has declined a lot over my years. I use sign language. My incredible sign language interpreter is in the front row, and I use captioning. This is why accessibility is so important and why AI is so important to us. Now I can find my sign language interpreter on Microsoft Teams. It detects the sign. It treats them in the same way as you would somebody speaking with voice. That sign detection means that I can see them at all times, and I can add then captioning. I can add transcripts, and I can get meeting notes at the end. That is a very, very different experience from where I began in 2005 in London working on a little product called Hotmail. If anyone remembers? No? Does anyone have? Yes. You are the coolest people in the room. And then I was using Link Communicator. And back then, to make something accessible, I had to request people, a sign language interpreter and a cartographer to join me, a stenographer, to join me in the room. And every time that changed, which meetings do, I would have a 24 to 48 hour notice period to get those people back in the room. It's very different today because of AI and the way that technology is advancing. And what we're learning is that AI is really advancing what's possible for neurodiversity. In fact, 91% are seeing Copilot as an assistive technology. This was research done by EY. And we're learning a lot about how important it is to learn and build skills on these technologies so that people can be productive in the workplace. The unemployment rate for people with disabilities being double that of people versus those without. In fact, we've learned, and this is a brand new study coming out from Forrester that is just about to be published, that says that assistive technology helps everyone. This is a study that was first done in 2003, a landmark research study that said that 57% of people would benefit from assistive technology. Things like captioning, things like magnification or pinch and zoom, which you're all using. But only a slim portion were actually using it. That number in the latest research this year has gone up to well over 70%. And the most important thing we can do is skill people. It's why at Microsoft, every employee has mandatory training on accessibility. We make that accessible so everyone can access it. A blind person using assistive technology like screen reading or magnification, deaf and blind, the same. And it also includes features like making sure that it works for our neurodiverse colleagues who prefer it in voice as opposed to imagery. There's lots of different ways to embed this to make sure that we are helping society to move forward. And not just what we do at Microsoft, but actually some of our partners have produced some really cool stuff. All of this training is free. This is a brand new training from a company called Founders. And Founders have produced this. Are you in the room? I didn't even know it. They're in the room on the front row. That's so cool. Well, let me tell you, we love your training. It was produced earlier, a couple of months ago. It is fantastic. The QR code is on the screen. Please take a picture of it, because this is about a core fundamental piece of empowering people by learning about AI, learning about accessibility in a training environment that itself is architected to be accessible, that we hope will have an impactful difference on society. So hopefully what you've gotten from me before I pass over is a couple of key things. Why Microsoft is invested in accessibility, and very proudly so. The importance of innovating and working with the community to build technologies. And the absolute importance and the learnings that we've gotten from years of skilling our own employees and providing skilling and working with our partners to produce more, particularly in this AI moment, with the hope that we can make a societal impact. All of that is the warm-up for the real main event. Let me welcome to the stage Jeana Jorgensen.
Thank you. Thank you. Before I get started, can I have the room help me with a little something? Today is somebody's birthday, and she was just up here. So Jenny, come back up here for a minute and let this room and myself and everyone else say a giant happy birthday. Happy birthday. We got you a little tiny gift, really quick. It's the student and the superstar keychains. So I just wanted to say that. I'm so honored to be up here with you today. You've been such a great partner, and happy birthday. She starts her celebration tomorrow, but I wanted to make sure this room and everyone else online had the opportunity to say a very big happy birthday. So my name is Jeana Jorgensen, and I run something called Worldwide Learning at Microsoft. Our job is really to go out and help all of our customers and partners around the world learn about AI, learn about cloud, learn about security, and understand all of the Microsoft tools and technologies available to them. There's 3.6 billion people in the workforce and a lot more coming on board with the future workforce. And it's not only our duty, but it's our honor and our privilege to be able to go and help people learn in this very frenetic time when AI is coming on board. We've been in the skilling space for a very long time, many, many, many years, but AI is bringing a different sense of urgency, as you all know. I felt like that back in the cloud days when cloud was a big change and a big industry disruptor, and I was like, oh, this feels very similar to the cloud in many ways. And in many ways, it's very, very different. There's still the freneticism, there is still the excitement, and there is still a lot of fear. When we look at our research, we find that 75% of business users in our customers and partners are afraid. They're afraid of AI, and they're afraid to even get started. And here we are telling everyone to go build an agent. You can go build your own agent. And people are like, I don't even know what this is yet. So I don't even know how to build an agent. So our job is to make sure that we're meeting every learner where they are. And so this is a really important part of the things that we do in skilling. On the technical side, we see a lot more curiosity, a lot more excitement. On the business user side, we just see a lot of fear. There's a big psychological barrier that everyone in this room and all of our fellow employees that we work with, that we have to work through with them. There's a lot of excitement, and we see a lot of people moving forward. We also see a lot of people just not even knowing where to get started. So let me talk to you a little bit about what we're doing from a skilling standpoint at Microsoft. So when we think about skilling this global workforce, we really think about this AI-powered or agentic learning experience that we have launched this week called AI Skills Navigator. Has anybody heard of Skills Navigator in the room? Couple people? It's totally okay if you haven't, because we literally just launched it. This is an agentic learning space where any person in the workforce can go actively learn about AI, learn about cloud, learn about security, but in an agentic way. They get to learn about AI by using AI. We've got a whole bunch of new AI-powered skilling experiences that were designed from the ground up with Jenny and team. So we created inclusive learning experiences from the very beginning. One of the core principles in defining AI Skills Navigator and this AI-led experience was we wanted to make sure we had skilling accessible to everybody. There was no way we were going to build something that excluded more than 20% of the workforce. And so we got a lot of great feedback early on around these experiences and allowing for different learning preferences and learning styles and learning capabilities. And so I'm really excited about this. We'll talk a little bit more, and I'll show you a quick video in a moment. But we have role-based skilling, so those who are afraid to get started, prescriptive learning paths. Many people are just looking for, what are the IKEA-like directions for me and my role? I don't even know where to get started, so tell me. We also have different choose your own adventure path for those that are trying to figure out, I want to learn something new. I've already played around with AI a bit. I've already played around with cloud. I want to learn something new. And we have a skills coach that's embedded within the AI Skills Navigator that helps you figure out what to learn next. Based on your role and the preferences that you set up when you actually set up your profile for Skills Navigator. There's a lot more agentic features coming online as well, and all of our skilling assets are now available to everyone for free. And so that's really, really important for us. It also includes something called organizational tooling. You can create and set up a playlist, and you can share it with others. So if you're a project lead and you want some of your folks in your team to take a specific set of skilling, you can have the AI skills coach in there go actually generate a playlist for you, and you can share it with others, and you can track their progress. So not only is it a space for individual learners, it's also a space for organizations to help people get started in their org based on a project, based on a group, whatever looks necessary for you. And then we have this human-enhanced side. I think a lot of what we're hearing in the media are fear-based stories about learning and skilling in AI. And if you don't get skilled in AI, you're going to be out of a job. The meme around every student that's currently in a university or a college environment is not going to have a job. There couldn't be anything further from the truth, but that story exists out there for people. And so we understand two things. One, many people still want to learn from humans. They don't want to be doing something that's self-paced, that's AI-led yet. They still want to talk to humans, and we still have this capability and ability for us to send humans in, whether that's through our partners, whether that's through our trainers that work at Microsoft. We still have this ability to have private delivery to individual customers and set up customized learning plans for you. The other place of big investment for us that we are taking with Skills Navigator is we are taking an employee 360 approach. We want to help the employee all the way around. And of course, we want them to know all about Microsoft technologies and all of the products we have, and we want them to learn how to use them and enjoy them. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure the employee feels successful and confident in their job. And what that looks like when we think about Skills Navigator is it has something in there called fundamentals. The fundamentals of technology, the fundamentals of programming language, independent of Microsoft, independent of any other vendor or supplier out there of technology. It's just helping them understand the fundamentals. So when they learn the specific skills from Microsoft products, they actually understand the basis underneath it. The other piece that we're investing heavily in is around professional and leadership development. So you'll see in Skills Navigator, there's a whole bunch of leadership development courses. Again, not specific to anything Microsoft. We work with a lot of different folks and people who are experts in this area. Carol Dweck, who's on growth mindset. We think about Kim Scott with Radical Candor. We think about Michael Gervais with Finding Mastery. All things about how do you as an employee or an executive build your leadership capabilities. What are you wanting to do to professionally develop? A big area of focus is we believe we've identified what are the top 10 uniquely human skills that need to exist in an AI-dominated workplace. And those are things like integrity-based decision-making, growth mindset, collaboration, teamwork. A lot of human skills that if we look ourselves in the eyes and we say, some of those skills have atrophied over time. Right? We want to make sure that we are helping the full employee not only get skilled on Microsoft technologies, but feel very confident and successful in their own career development and career path forward. And we want to help organizations make sure that they have that same set of skilling for their employees as well. Because every time I talk to an organization, they're like, yeah, it's great. I expect you to teach me all the Microsoft stuff. But what they don't expect from us is for them to understand that employee 360 and the leadership development. And our philosophy is, hey, we just want to make sure everyone feels confident. It's all about building confidence in every single employee as they start to use AI a bit more frequently and start to get comfortable with the technology. So we do now have this AI-led approach through Azure's or AI Skills Navigator alongside of this ability to build customized skilling plans and focus on that human, those essential human skills. All right, so I mentioned Skills Navigator. A couple of really cool features that you guys can go check out today. You guys can log in, set up a profile. This is all live today. It's globally available. It is English only right now, but it is this agentic learning space. Like I said, you have this ability to create skilling playlists and share them with your friends. You can use our prescriptive paths. If you're like, I don't know where to get started, you can absolutely find by role, whether you're customer success, whether you're a security professional, whether you are a marketer, you can find a prescriptive path for you. We have something called skilling sessions. These skilling sessions allow for any person at any time that they want to learn about a particular topic to feel like they're in a live event, because there's got AI moderated sessions where there's a presenter and they're presenting, and so you feel like you're showing up at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, but really it's 3 p.m. in your time zone, but there's AI moderators asking you questions and you can ask questions of that, so it feels like you're getting personalized skilling in real time, which is incredibly important for people. It's hard to be able to schedule skilling. It's hard to be able to show up at the right time in the right place to get the right content. And so that's an area that we're really, really excited about. Another really interesting feature, we have this wonderful asset class called MS-Learn, and MS-Learn is this massive technical repository of documentation and learning paths and credentials, but it's heavily text-based. It's not very accessible at all. And so what we do is Skills Navigator sits on top of that and has the ability to generate podcasts on the fly. You can tell it, I have 5 minutes, please generate a 5-minute podcast on this content, and it will take all the text-based content and turn it into a podcast for you. And so it's wonderful to be able to see us take all different types of traditional learning and convert it into a way that is preferable based on whatever learning style you may have. All right. As it comes to accessibility, as I mentioned, there's so many accessible AI learning experiences that we've built in, but also want to continue building into AI Skills Navigator. It's so incredibly important. It's a core tenet of everything I do as somebody who has people with a lot of different abilities in my family, a lot of different experiences. I learn every day. My children are auditory learners, and I'm a visual learner. And I would think as many times as I tell them to put on their shoes and they do not, that they are not auditory learners, but trust me, they are auditory learners on topics they care about. And so when I think about just that style in and of itself, right, the things that I think I'm saying to them are not necessarily landing in the way that they land for me, particularly. And so just having this agentic learning support within the product is so important. That allows you to learn the way you want to learn. It allows your peers to learn the way they want to learn. And it doesn't say you must read this 50-page document and absorb it all and then demonstrate your competence in mastering that particular topic. The multimodal learning experience is, again, super, super important for this experience. We want to make sure there's short form video, longer form video, text-based if that's what you prefer, podcasts and auditory podcasts if that's what you prefer. So we've really focused on that multimodal experience, not to overwhelm people with content and not to overwhelm people with skilling, but to provide it in a way that feels preferable to you. And lastly, this adaptive AI generated content formats. We are experimenting with AI in ways that blow my mind every single day. Ways to verify your capability or your level of proficiency on a particular topic. We're right now experimenting with AI to be able to say, you have now mastered level 100 technical proficiency on how to build an agent. And when you pass that with 90% proficiency or higher, it's not a human saying you are now certified in this. AI is being able to certify you in the same exact way, so we can verify your skills. You can place them on LinkedIn. You can show and tell people, I really have this level of proficiency in a much more expeditious way than we have in the past. And so that human credentialing and human verification of skills still be very important, but we see so many promising results with using AI to be able to do that. And the beauty of it is it allows you to practice. How many of you guys ever took an entry-level exam for school and it was on this date and on this time and you had to pass it, otherwise you were not getting let into that school or to that job or whatever it was? How many of you guys took an exam like that and felt like, oh my gosh, this is the moment I have to pass, right? How many practice exams did you do before that, right? Probably a lot. I'm hoping you did a lot, unless you're just brilliant, but you probably are brilliant. But I did a lot, I will tell you that. But being able to practice this with an AI coach that lets me take it over and over and over again and tells me my progress, you're now at 82%, you're now at 85%, you are going to crush this exam when you take the final exam. That's the confidence that we're seeing AI build in our individual learners and the confidence we want to build in every single employee. So I'm very excited about that. And again, partnering with people like Jenny has been critical to making sure we're building the right product and doing the right thing by the learner. We have a core tenet that we think about in our team all the time, which is how do we most respect the learner? Right? Everything we do is about respecting the learner, respecting their time, respecting the way they learn, understanding how everybody has different preferences and priorities, and just being able to really effectively go into micro-learning and allow people to learn one skill at a time until they're so comfortable that they are out in the level of curiosity, exploring on their own without anybody pushing and no fear stopping them. The thing about fear that we're really witnessing is you can't learn anything when you're afraid. Your brain does not let you learn when you're in a place of fear. And when we see this research and when we talk to customers and we see that that fear is real, it's so important for us as the learning division that we understand the psychological impact that AI is having on people. And so again, for us, it's respect that learner, learn one skill at a time, and just build confidence. That is the approach we're taking with all of this. So I'm very excited about the work there, but it always starts from neuro-inclusive design at the beginning and making sure we are building skilling for everyone. All right, I'm gonna play you a little video here so you can hear from somebody themselves. There you go.
Learning is very personal. We all learn differently, and finding the right training at the right time can be tough. Hi, I'm Chris Duncan, a cloud solution architect here at Microsoft, and here's how AI Skills Navigator helps me. Sometimes it's hard to find training in the formats that I need. This experience brings together different types of content to support diverse learning styles with videos, on-demand training, and learning paths from places like Microsoft, LinkedIn, GitHub, and more. Long articles are tough for me to focus on. I've tried Immersive Reader, but honestly, because I have ADHD, I can feel like it's not immersive enough sometimes. What's great about AI Skills Navigator is it can transform training into podcasts. And podcasts are more dynamic with multiple voices and inflection, and all those things help me to focus and retain information better. I learn best by interacting and doing, so I'm super excited about skilling sessions, which are live, on-demand videos led by experts with an AI agent that keeps me engaged. I get to ask as many questions as I need to understand. As a consultant, flexibility is important to me. On-demand sessions and leave-behinds really fit my busy schedule. AI Skills Navigator helps me find training that meets my needs anytime, anywhere. Give it a try.
Excellent. So I just wanted to make sure you guys saw that. Here's 2 ways to get started. First, you can scan that QR code and it'll link you through to the AI Skills Navigator. And then we also have the Disability Answer Desk that if you have any questions around anything that we're building, you can scan that as well. Or you can go directly to the AI Skills Navigator URL, and that's live again today. Before we turn it over for Q&A, there are a number of places where you can go learn more about this. Beyond this, there was a theater session earlier today that will be on demand, all about AI Skills Navigator, and the whole 30-minute session is a demo. A giant demo. So it'll show you how to use it, show you some of the really cool AI-powered skilling experiences in there, and then there's a number of sessions throughout Ignite. And again, I'll just say this because it doesn't seem to land with people. This is free. We are not charging for it. We have externalized all of our skilling. It doesn't cost anything. There's not a SKU. I often get the question, wow, that's expensive. And I said, it's free. And then they say, well, how much does it cost? And I was like, it doesn't cost anything. And we just have this Three Stooges conversation that goes around and around and around in a very circuitous conversation. It is free. Anybody can access it anywhere. Everyone in this room can access it today. So I want to make sure that's super, super clear. And then the second thing that we would ask of this audience and anybody that's online is, we would love feedback. This is, a public preview that we are putting out into the world. We want to keep building really great technology that meets the needs of our users. So as you have ideas and thoughts, tell us through any of the forums, tell them through the disability desk. You can tell them through any of the Skills Playground assets out there. There's a whole ideas board. You can email me directly even at Jeana Jorgensen at Microsoft.com. I would love to hear it. But this is a core focus for us to keep iterating quickly and quickly and quickly. So yeah, we're very excited about it. And so go check us out in any of those places. All right, I'm going to bring Jenny back up here, the birthday girl, and we are going to turn it over to Q&A for the audience.
Absolutely. And if you do have a question, there will be a microphone in the middle. Please put your hand up. I have to say, I've been looking at all of the skilling because skilling is such a hot topic right now. We're in a new era and we're all sort of learning how to use it. I think this is the only skilling out there that is accessible right now. Do you agree?
I would agree. Some might call me biased, but I would agree when I look at it just diplomatically. Yeah, that is because it's a big area of focus. You can see something is differentiated when you know it's a core focus. And so for us, that has been the core tenet of everything that we deliver, is that it's got to be accessible to everybody.
And I absolutely love a lot of the learnings in this skilling come from our learnings in putting out skilling to our 230,000 employees, where we've got it right and we got it wrong over time. It's always terrifying to put out a skilling to that number of people, let alone this one, which will hit millions. And making sure that it has got the right navigability to it, the right captioning, the right choice in how you experience it. Question?
First of all, this is really exciting stuff. A completely free platform that's 100% customizable and accessible at any time is mind-blowing. I just want to say congratulations on that.
Thank you.
People love free stuff. I wanted to understand what that kind of AI-led certification looks like to you. The fact that you're giving an AI agency over validating the abilities of the user. is super fascinating. Can you just describe what that is?
Yeah, and we're in exploration. It is not available, I'll be really clear. It's not available today in Skills Navigator, but one of the most important things that we're trying to do is figure out how to have AI do this for people in real time, right? And not have to be proctored and not have to be human monitored, I would argue. And so the work that we're doing right now, you can feed, so let's take this. I'll just give you the example of like what we've fed it with so far. So think about a board exam, right? I'm going to go get some kind of board exam for some level of credentialing, my PhD, my doc, whatever it is. I would go in front of a panel and they would interview me and ask a series of questions. We've been able to take that series of questions and be able to ask, feed it all into the agent. And then we have the ability to score it based on the Feynman's method and based on the method of like, can you describe this in one sentence? Can you describe this in paragraph form as if it were a 5-year-old? And so we're using different methodologies in terms of validating somebody's actual knowledge retention. And it's been fascinating. It's been fascinating to see what it scored. And potentially, right, that is enough credentialing. It's hard. You can probably game anything, right? But for us, there's so many different types of ways to verify today. But I think when you look at the whole credentialing portfolio, right? You have digital badges, you have things like applied skills that we have, which are like just a little bit longer form and require a little bit more intense skilling. And then you have this notion of certifications. And there's business and technical certifications out there all over now, right? And the way in which we're using AI to do that is just scoring people at a level of proficiency to say, all right, I now can tell my boss, I now can go tell my next company that I'm applying for that I have passed with certainty this 200 level certification on AI business executive or AI strategic solutions engineer. And it's, there is also concerns around, hey, it's really helpful to have a human there doing this. I think that's true, but I think when there's so many credentials and so many certifications, people are going to know in real time during that interview whether that's fake or not, right? And so I think it's really important for us that we start to look at it in different ways to be able to use AI to do these things that feel a little bit more forced, I guess I would say. Yeah. And there's always going to be that concern over, did I cheat? Did somebody get in there and do that with me? And we're working through all that right now, testing it to see like, oh, if somebody delays too long, does that mean that they are cheating? If they, put in a text-based answer that they've cut and pasted because they've now done this 5 different times and now they know the answer they want to go get. And we're looking at all of that. It's certainly not foolproof yet by any means, but it is an area we are experimenting with greatly because the number one thing people want to do is demonstrate that they've got some verified skill. And they want somebody like a Microsoft, a Google, or somebody else out there to verify that this has passed the test. So more to come on that for sure, but it's been phenomenal to see. And even like a lot of our engineers who've been working with on this are like, wow, okay, this is pretty good. This is really, really promising. And everything that we do, we test full house and in-house first before we release it.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
But yeah, lots of areas of, and the other thing I will say on this just really quickly is this notion of testing ephemeral knowledge, right? What's short-term knowledge that you need to gain versus institutional knowledge that you want somebody to retain. And what we're doing right now is focusing heavily on the institutional knowledge that we want to verify versus just, where is this location? Where is this thing? Something I need to know short-term and probably could forget it.
Well, while folks are getting to the microphone, what's going to be on your playlist?
Oh, that's a good question.
I didn't prep you on this one.
You did not.
No.
That's a really good question. So here's the number one question I get from friends and people within Microsoft alike, which is, my kid's in school. What's the number one set of things you would tell them, skills? What would you teach them and where would you send them to go get skills that demonstrate they have AI competence? And so my playlist that I'm going to be releasing in 2 weeks is all about what should somebody in college, what credentials and certificates should people go get that are in college right now. So yeah, my place is going to be focused on the future workforce.
I think mine's going to be a bit of a mix. I resonate with what you said about fear. People are very fearful about talking to people they don't understand.
Yeah.
So if I can build a playlist that's got a bunch of like, learn about disability, we're actually really cool people and all around you. How to talk, how to communicate, not worry about the words, let's get on with it. And then how to code accessibly. Yeah. I want people to really build this in by design.
Yeah.
I'm going to have fun. I'm building my playlist too. You had a question. Hey, is that Cam?
Hi, I think it's a wonderful platform. I'm so excited about it. You know, I think that it's got such amazing design and everything that's included with it. You've got, you know, so many of the audio pieces, the captioning, etc. I'm curious, do you have American Sign Language for the deaf community so that they all have equal access at all levels? Is that going to be included? If not, do you have any plans for including that in the future?
It is not, oh, do you want to answer?
Go for it.
Okay, it's not included today, absolutely on our roadmap of things we want to include. Absolutely. And the beauty of this is it's a live site. We are iterating and releasing as quickly as humanly possible. And so that is definitely on the roadmap. And Jenny has given us a wonderful list of things that we need to continue to include that are all part of that priority list for sure.
We're not allowed to get bored. There's going to be way more things that we need to add. And I will say adding will be American Sign Language. And for folks that are not attuned, sign language is different for every country. And so we have to really think carefully what we do add. So it will be ASL as opposed to International Sign or some of the others that exist. And an on-demand function, so not fully on. We actually heard from the neurodiverse community, I like it to be always on because I use Sign. But the neurodiverse community do find it somewhat distracting. So there's some learning there in how best to make sure that we have sign language available for those that need it. In the same way as we want audio learners to be able to switch into audio mode or podcast mode as they need it as well. So making sure it's customizable as we go forward.
One of the things that will be really interesting that we're partnering with a startup right now on is they do verbal language translation. So things that would take us 12 weeks to localize into Russian or into Japanese, now they can turn it around in a 24-hour period. It'd be really interesting to see if they can test with multiple different types of sign language, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what that capability would look like, and so it'll be really fascinating to see where they've progressed so dramatically on verbal language localization is phenomenal. Be very curious to see if that's something that this company can do with physical language too.
Let's see. We're very proud that most of our interpreters are very high quality CDIs and certified deaf interpreters. And so it's an area we've been learning a lot about. It's a great question, Cam. Thank you very much. Any other questions from the audience? Go for it.
Well, hi, and thank you, Jenny, for the mention to the course on AI and accessibility. I would like to ask you if you could develop a bit more on the definition of accessibility from Microsoft, because we know that you do not only focus on people with hearing or vision disability, but also on the neurodiverse community. And I say that because we discovered that a lot of companies were actively prepared with protocols to be welcoming to, for example, a deaf person, but they were definitely not prepared for an ADHD person. And they have already quite a lot of them in their teams. And we feel AI is really powerful for the company as well to be more welcoming. And it would be great if you could expand it a bit more for us.
It's a great question, and again, thank you, founders, for the partnership and everything that you have done to advance this space. Broad definition and the communities that we cover is going to be a continually evolving thing. In the time that I've been in this role, I've seen the community grow. And so there's what we traditionally know of disability, people who use wheelchairs, intellectual developmental disabilities, sensory, so deaf, blind, low vision, hearing loss. But the two biggest growing areas are mental health right now and neurodiversity, which is a relatively new umbrella term, 2015, which is inclusive of many different, mostly non-apparent, invisible types of disabilities. So anything from autism to dyslexia and dyspraxia. Of course, it's complex, and we spend a lot of time because humans don't come in beautiful boxed packages, and disability is the one part of, well, you can join our community at any time. It is the one area of diversity that is that way. And so as we age, that correlation with age, you acquire more, which is rude, but it happens. And sorry, folks, but at the age of 65, 50% of you will have a disability. That's what the stats tell us. So complex also, spending time where you kind of bridge between a couple. As I've gotten older, I've gone from deaf to now having a leg that thinks it works some days and doesn't on others. And that will continue. So we do aim to work with all communities, both internally and externally with all of that. And to just give you a little bit of the inside source, the compliance bar, and there's a lot of regulation around accessibility, a brand new one in Europe just a couple of months ago, the European Accessibility Act. We combine those into one set of policies for our engineers, and that covers all aspects of disability. But I want to be really clear, that is the floor, not the ceiling. So I ask all Microsofties to build inclusively and use the principles of inclusive design. So that means you build for one and you extend to many. And so spend time with humans, but really go after the innovation paradigm changing. So we closely watch how communities are changing and growing. We see it ourselves. We're a big company. Almost 10% have positively identified in the US as having a disability at Microsoft. And we're seeing it change.
Thank you, and happy birthday.
Oh,
I didn't mean to embarrass her. Some people don't like their birthday celebrated, but I am a big celebrator of birthdays, so sorry about that.
No, it's 50, folks. It's a big one. So yes, we will be celebrating in a big way later.
So fun.
Yeah.
So well deserved.
Alrighty, folks, I'm not seeing any other questions, so we will give you a sum total of 3 minutes back to enjoy the rest of your day. A huge thank you. I know you have a lot of choice in the sessions that you go to at Ignite. Thank you for prioritizing this one.
Yeah, thank you guys very much.
All right, have a great rest of your day.